Alright guys, how's it going? It's Will here from ZaltekReviews.com. For those that know me on Facebook, you'll know that there's no two sides but two parts, well, two big parts of my life that are quite prominent throughout what posts you see and who my friends are and all the rest of it. I was in the army for 1989 until 2001, 2, I can't remember. 12 years it was anyway. And a good chunk of my friends, like on Facebook, are all my old army pals. Then there's the other side of me that's on Facebook, and it's just watches. Hence the channel. Now, there's a UK based company called 960 down in England, and they contacted me and asked if I would like to have a look at their dive watch. Now you might think, 960, that's a weird name. Well, the guy that owns it, he was in the army as well, and that's the last three of his army number. Mine was actually 047. I don't think I would have it as a watch brand though, but whatever works, you know what I mean. Anyway, he contacted me and he's like, would you like to take a look at the dive watch? And then I started talking to him and that, and then I started to get the story about, you know, it's all military based themes that he wanted to create watches, and you know how it goes. So I don't think this is a first watch. I think it's a second watch, but I could be mistaken. I know they're bringing out their field watch, which I'm actually really excited to see because it does look pretty bloody good. And he says, well, in the meantime, do you want to review the diver? And I says, aye, sure. I was a bit sceptical, to be fair, because it's a 44mm watch. Now, before you switch off and go to the next blooming review, this wears nothing like a 44. It's got like that SKX kind of thing, you know, where when you look at the dimensions and that on paper, you're like, there's no way I'm going to pull that off. But then it wears like a 40, as you all know, because of the really short lug to lug. And it's the same with this. I mean, I've got a 6 3/4 inch wrist, and I can pull this watch off easily. And I never thought I would say that. I think this is one of the biggest watches on paper that I've reviewed. But I've worn watches that have got a smaller, like, case diameter, but they wear a lot bigger. So I suggest that you stick with me throughout the review, and we'll get into more details about it. Play the intro. Let's get into it then. 960 watches, they call this, well, they class this watch as like modern engineering with a retro feel and military soul. Is that marketing waffle? No, I can understand it. It's a modern watch, but they've tried to incorporate, you know, that whole 60s, 70s kind of vibe with a military theme. Fine, fair enough. As I said earlier, the plan on covering like the three main bases, you know, air, land and sea. Obviously this one, it's all about diving and in the sea and blah blah blah. Right, first up, let me show you what the package includes in this kind of army green watch roll. Oh, it's canvas. It's nice, it's quite soft as well actually. You get 3 straps. Let me show you the straps. I'm not sure if you're going to get the same colours as I got, but... Oh, before I continue, I would like to say that this watch was gifted to me. I don't have to return it, just to be transparent, but it's not going to affect... I mean, I've got more watches than I know what to do with it. It's not going to affect my review in any way. Anyway, first up, NATO straps, I don't bother with NATO straps. I just don't like them. Just because of the way they wear on wrist. That's the only reason. I mean, don't get me wrong, these straps are really, really nice. They're very well manufactured. Signed hardware and all that. You can see the logo there. Focus. Bastard. You can see it there. So obviously that one there, black and orange. You also got a wee tool here. It's not signed or anything, but what we got here, a wee fork at one end for changing the straps, and on this end we have just like the pin remover, usual. Second strap, another NATO, I believe. Yep, this one is blue and green. Same kind of quality, same hardware, all signed. It's all good. What's this? Is this a warranty card or something? No, it's just... put it in frame. Fuck's sake. It gives you the serial number of the watch. Obviously this one here is 57 or 200. So there's 200 in total. That's just contact well, just their website really. Oh, fuck's sake, right in front of me. Chris, obviously he's the owner. He's a good guy. I mean, I've spoke to him for quite a while actually. And we do have a lot in common obviously with the ex-military background and all the rest of this stuff. Anyway, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about what other... We've got a black and orange and grey. Another NATO. So that's 3 NATOs. Plus you've got the watch itself comes fitted on a bracelet. Which, and all the time I'm going to have this, I'll never take the bracelet off because I'm a bracelet guy. First up, let me give this thing away. Now remember, as I said, it's a 44mm watch. So you probably are thinking this weighs a ton. So I've sized it up for my wrist, which as I said is 6 3/4 inches. Let's see the weight. The weight sized up, it's 161 grams. A wee bit on the heavier side, but lighter than I expected considering the size. Oh, fucking hell. Right, let's talk about the dimensions then. Case diameter is 44.1mm. Lug to lug, 50mm. Bang on. Total thickness, 13mm. You have a 22mm lug width. The bracelet, it comes fitted. Tapers down to, what, 19.5? Yep, 19.5. And at the clasp, you're looking at just a shade under 21.5. The crown, just under 6mm. I would have liked to have seen a bigger crown on this, maybe 7mm. You know, just because of the general proportions, but it does look the part there. You can see the crown guards coming down there, and it's really nicely sculpted or made. I'm going to turn this off. Aye, it's really nice. The way they just flare out, then kind of twist, not twist, but they're just very well shaped. I do like that. You're not going to find any polished accents or anything because this is designed to be a tool. Nothing more, nothing less. So I'm looking for polished bits, but there's no. I know there's no, but I'm just trying to show you on camera. It's fully brushed, and the brushing is as well. The finishing. Come on, focus. The finishing is really, really nice. Got to say, that's a fine brush. The bracelet itself does match the case very well. Got to say, it does actually look like it's been designed for this watch specifically and not just an off-the-shelf pile of pish. It's got male end links, but it makes little or no difference to how it wears on wrist because it's sloped down very well. Now, I'll be honest with you, if I seen this watch and I never got the introduction to the brand and the watch and how it was all explained to me and everything else, I'd be like, nah, I don't want it, it's too big. Too big for my wee skinny wrists, you know. But see that now that it's here and I've wore it and the way it wears on wrist, I'm actually rather impressed by it. It just goes to show that you shouldn't look at dimensions of a watch and just, you know, blow it out. You should give the watch a chance, but then not everybody's in the same position as I am where I can get the watch, even if it's just on loan, to try it out. Not everybody's in the position to do that because obviously most people would need to buy it first. Well, but I suppose that's why I'm here, to tell you what it's like before you buy it. I've done the dimensions and all that. The movement inside this, it's a high beat movement. It's the Miyota 9015. Obviously you've got the date there at 3. I might as well talk about the dial while I'm here. Obviously this is, as I said earlier on, it's a tool watch. So you're not going to find any fancy finishes or anything like that. It's a matte black dial. And they're not to like vintage style military based watches. It's all about, you know, the vintage style lume and all the rest of it, and they put an orange hand on there because obviously orange is supposed to give you the best visibility and low light and all the rest of it, so that's why there's the orange minute hand there. As I said, vintage lume, and you've got the second hand is orange as well, with that kind of arrow tip there, and that's lumed as well at the very end. I'll show you a lume shot later, obviously. I'm pretty sure these are applied indices, and you've got the printed logo there just below the 12 and the water resistance just above the 6. Dated 3 as I previously mentioned. The watch is 316L stainless steel, obviously. Case back, mid case. The bezel, crown, bracelet, clasp, usual. The bezel. What's the insert on this? I forgot. Oh, it's actually ceramic. Stainless steel bezel with ceramic insert. The bezel action, quite clicky, but I like that. There's a tiny amount of back play, but once it settles into that position, it's not going to move, and the alignment is actually bang on. I like it. Crown is signed, as I should have mentioned earlier. What else could I say about it? I've mentioned the movement. Oh, it's got a sapphire crystal. Does a good job with the anti-reflective coating on the underside. I'm not sure how many layers it's got, but it works. The water resistance on this is 200 metres, which is more than enough, in my opinion. You start ranking up the water resistance, then you're just going to get a big behemoth watch that's too thick. I think 200 metres is more than enough. The deepest I go is in the bath. Bracelet's nice. It's got, as I said, it's got male end links and that. What was the bloody... How did this thing come apart again? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure... I need to get this right, don't I? Aye, on the bracelet you have... It's a pin and collar system, but don't worry, it's super easy to size, even for me, and I hate pin and collar. The sides of the collars are pretty big. Come out easily, they go back in easy. No issues with that. The clasp, this is where you're all going to go, oh fuck's sake, fucking press clasp for a watch costing this much. Oh, that reminds me. Price, 399 Great British beer tokens. So, quite expensive, really, and you're only getting a press clasp. But that's today, that it wasn't a cost cutting exercise, it was actually part of their design choice, you know, going with the vintage style, because back in the day, that's pretty much all you got. That's pretty much what every watch had, really. I do think I'm not going to say this is all singing, all dancing brilliant, because there is things I would change. I mean, I would have gave it a mild clasp, even though I can understand where they're going with their design and everything, which I don't mind it at all. But what I would have done though is made the clasp a bit longer. You've got 3 levels of micro adjust on there. I don't think it's long enough. I think they should have had 4 or 5 levels of micro adjust. Just extend it, because these short stubby clasps, I don't like the feel of them on their own wrist. I prefer some just a bit bigger, no too big. For instance, hold on, this clasp. It's not the best clasp in the world, but I think this style of clasp would have still kept like the vintage feel, but it's pretty much the same as the clasp that's on this. It's just a bit longer. And look, 6 micro adjustments holes. I think this would have been a better choice than that one. Just my 2 cents anyway. I mean, I understand what a good clasp is. I mean, that one. That's superb. On the fly adjustment, fully milled. But you're talking different leagues here, because this watch costs like £1,800. Aye, the Formex reef. I changed it back to the black bezel last night, as I fancied a change. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about this. Aye, I think that's my only nitpick that I would have with this watch. It's just the length of the clasp. Fine, fair enough. You know, it's pressed here. Doesn't bother me. And I understand why they've done it for the whole vintage thing, as I said. I mean, if I was designing a watch, check my glove out, man. Fuck's sake. Fucking cheap shite. Aye, if I was designing a watch, it wouldn't be anything like this. Because I like, you know, mental lume, and I like female end links, and I like milled clasps, on the fly adjustment and all this. But I'm not designing a watch, I'm reviewing watches. So I can only give you my opinion on what's in front of me. Now, I do like this whole... See, the other thing, there's no colour options on this. It's black or nothing. Now, with the vintage style lume and everything, I think this watch, just the black dial, is the best choice. If there was different colours, it's just not going to work with the whole... I keep saying vintage, don't I? The whole vintage vibe. But I do like this watch. It's bigger than I would normally wear, as I say. But I still like it though. It's weird. I mean, some watches on paper you're going to look at, or you're going to look at pictures on the internet and all that, and you're like, nah, do I like it? Shite. Nah, not having that. But it's not until you get it, and you get it in person, and you look at the nice detail and everything, and the way that it wears on your wrist, and then you actually change your mind, and you're like, oh, I fucking actually like that. You know what I mean? It's a weird way how things work with watches and all that. On paper, you might hate it, as I said, but then you get it, and you're like, oh, I actually really like that. Anyway, I've already gave you a wrist check in my Formex Reef. Love that watch. That was my watch of the year 2021, wasn't it? So obviously I fucking like it. I can get it off my fucking wrist. Right, let me show you a wrist shot of this. Now remember, my wrist size is 6 3/4 inches. So bear that in mind when you see it. Now, aye, it's still a big watch, but there's no overhang there. I mean, I could see it better with my naked eye than it is coming across on the camera. But let me show you. See, there's no overhang. It still sits on my wrist, and it sits flat, which is good. Which is probably why I get away with this watch, because it does sit very flat on wrist. You know what I mean? There's no bulging case back or anything stupid like that. It just sits nice and flat. I would say this wears more like a 12mm than its actual 13mm. No, that's a weird thing to say, but it just wears nice, and it just wears really nice on wrist, is what I'm saying. There. I do like it. I do like it. Let me show you a lume shot. Then I'll be off ski, because I've been looking at my timer on my camera. It's saying 22 minutes. So obviously when I edit it, I'll be a lot less than that. Take out all the burping and farting and whatever else I do on camera. Need to cut all that out. What was I doing? Lume shot. Fuck's sake, well, get a grip. Oh! What's no fucking walking the camera, you tit. Right, turn all these friggin' lights off. I'll dip that monitor a wee bit so you can see. Where's my torch? Oh, I meant to mention there's a lume pip on the bezel. I'm not going to say that word vintage again. I just did. Right, lume shot. The lume's actually good. See, for this, the old radium style lume thing that they've got going on the lume's actually pretty good. It's not going to be like C3X1 or good quality BGW9 or anything like that. It will fade quicker than the rest of them, but it's okay. It's no. I mean, looking at what you can see here on camera, it's not fading much. Alright, it's only been a couple of minutes, but you can normally tell if a lume's going to be shite or if it's had a rubbish application or anything, but this one is nice and crisp. Good execution on the lume. So there you have it. Put that in the centre so I can put my wee end card. Anyway. It's a good watch. I do recommend it. I wish it was a wee bit cheaper, but everybody's got to make a living, isn't they? It's still affordable. It's still south of, the 500. Anyway, right, that's me off. I'll be back. As I say, Chris is sending me the field watch that's coming, and he's sending me a white dial. Woohoo! You know I'm a fan of white dials. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I do appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video. Alright, toodles!